We're just going to play a little bit with you because, first of all, and we mean this in the nicest way, when all that is source energy is focused with you now in this powerful moment of creation, why are you worrying about what's going to happen once you're not focused here in this physical body? Why don't you just mind your own business? It's all right. But what do you think that desire for that clarity is about? In other words, is this boring you? Have you got this all figured out? Because we said something a little bit like this, that when you are focused from your non-physical, you have this broader understanding. And when you reemerge into your non-physical, you will remember that again. But while you are here in this physical body, it's the combination of the things that matter to you here and are of interest to you here and your connection with that broader point of view that will bring you the greatest satisfaction in life. Therefore, it is our knowing that you're not doing enough of getting into the receiving mode so that you can receive what your inner being knows. You see, this is what we really want you to hear. Your inner being, this non-physical energy, this singular energy that you're even wanting to call that consciousness, is so interested in what you are about here, not focused upon something that's going on somewhere else. And you know why? It's not going on somewhere else. It's going on here. This is the leading edge. So rather than being here on the leading edge, trying to anticipate or even make up in your own mind what the non-physical point of view really is, why not do whatever you can do to get yourself in vibrational sync with that non-physical energy so that you open to it, so that you receive it here and now, so that you can feel the interest of non-physical energy in what you are about here and now. Now, we know you heard that. So we're going to play a game with you that maybe you've played with yourself before. So you're in the middle of a thought. Have you ever played this game where you're having this thought and then you think, what was the thought that I had that led to this thought? And then what was the thought that led to that thought? And then what was the thought that led to that thought? And you don't get very far back. You just can't, because your point of attraction is here and now. And so the thoughts that you're thinking now are based upon what your vibrational output and therefore point of attraction is here and now. So the thing that makes this question unsatisfying to you, it's sort of pointed backwards. You're wanting to know what happened before you were here, and we want you to know that everything that you think is back there is forward happening with you now. And that it is so irrelevant where anything was before now, because anything that was before now is not as it was before it was now. So let's just look at it conceptually. So it's not hard to accept that there was something before now, even something before you emerged into this physical body. And we want you to understand that then you were a consciousness, and from your framework of thinking, you could say, I was a singular consciousness interested in flowing into this physical body. You could say that, even though the singular consciousness that you were was in a larger group, just like the singular consciousness that is you is part of a larger group. So you were singular consciousness who was eager about the idea of coming forth into this physical body. And so that consciousness is focusing here with you in this physical body. So just like you are here in your body and thinking mostly about your life, you are also interested in your friends. You're also interested in some of the things that they are about, and you're interested in some of the things that they say, but not nearly so interested in anything any of them are doing as you are interested in what you are doing. What they are doing interests you to the degree that they are involved with you primarily, whether it's a cluster of friends around you or a global consciousness. It really is primarily about you. Your point of attraction and your point of attention is primarily about you. So understand that that non-physical point of view is that way too. So that non-physical point of view is that way too. And just like you have physical friends that you are interested in, the non-physical you is also interested in other things as it relates to them. And everyone actually relates to the whole in one way or another. But the primary focus is about the train of thought or the stream of thought or the stream of creative consciousness that you are about. So from your non-physical vantage point, it's not much different in the way you understand yourself to be thinking about the things that are important to you. The difference between you in your singular consciousness, which is mostly about singular you, and your inner being, who has singular consciousness, who is mostly interested about singular you, singular that part of you. The difference between the physical you and the non-physical you is that the physical you doesn't really have complete control over the thoughts that you are thinking. And therefore, you often, collectively, we're not just speaking to you, activate contradictory thoughts within yourself that are not in sync with what you really want, while the non-physical you never, ever does that. The non-physical you has come to the experience of holding attention upon what is wanted without introducing the contradiction to it. So the non-physical you is a stable energy, a stable consciousness that's focused succinctly and clearly upon the point of expansion that has been chosen in this moment. Are any of you following this? So here you are, an extension of that non-physical you. There's you, selfish you, and there's you, selfish you. There's you, singular you, there's you, singular you. In other words, there's you, this point of eternal consciousness. And here you are, because you have chosen to be on this leading edge of creation. Here you are, mixing it up in contrast and allowing yourself to be exposed to something beyond what you already know and what you already own and what you already are. You're mixing it up with others, and as a result, you're coming to a new desire that you don't have vibrational control over. It's too new. It's like the baby learning to walk, or somebody getting behind a powerful machine and not really understanding how to run the machine. In other words, you're vibrationally and emotionally a little out of control, a lot out of control here in your physical bodies. You're sort of out of control. You're out of control. So you're doing what you intended to do. You're observing and you're experiencing and you're weighing the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses. And you're coming to awarenesses of what you want. And every time life causes you to prefer something, it really is that simple. I'd rather people be nice to me than not, and I'd rather be nice to people than not. Every experience that you have causes you to launch a rocket or a request of desire that this non-physical you follows perfectly. The non-physical you is able to sort out from what you've sorted out what you want and hold that thought steady. So there is a point of attraction. There is an immediate becoming. Now, do you follow that? We want to say that in a simpler way. So you've got the two yous kind of in perspective, yes? So you say, I want more money. And your inner being hears, we want more money. He, therefore I, we want more prosperity. You say, I want it, but I don't have it. Your inner being says, I want it. Law of attraction responds to you, I want it, but, I want it, but, I want it, but, I want it, but. So you don't have any movement. Your inner being says, I want it, I want it, I want it. So law of attraction is responding to this aspect of you, and law of attraction is responding to this aspect of you, which gives you the sensation of a tug of war, because half of you is moving. It's not half, it's the way larger part of you is moving toward your desire or allowing that desire to formulate around you, while this part of you may not be doing that. So this conversation about where you came from and who you are, it is our desire that you understand that it wasn't just a jumping off place. It's someone that sets you into motion and is involved from a vibrational point of attraction, point of view about everything that matters to you. Are you feeling the bigness of this singular consciousness? Now, Does that mean that your inner being can't think about other things? Of course not. Does it mean you only think about that? Of course not. So now, what you now have returned to resonance about is that everything that I am becoming, my inner being allows themselves to become it first. And then they hold the vibration of it, which allows me to then become it next. And to the degree that I let myself flow in the direction of my own desire, I feel good. And to the degree that I'm a holdout and I don't let myself flow in the direction of my own desire, then I feel that negative emotion, which is the indicator that I've expanded, but I haven't let myself in my human form take the expansion. So you can tell by how you feel. If you feel exhilarated, you're in sync with it, which means you're in the receiving mode, which means you're going to get to witness the becoming of your thoughts turning to things. But if you feel negative emotion about it, that means you're not in the receiving mode. It's continuing to expand. You're not going with it. So every answer that you're looking for about what non-physical is about and what they're doing, it can be known by you as you are focused upon your experience and you allow yourself to let it that's already come forward into your experience be received by you. Here's what we just said to you. It was a little jumbled. You didn't quite get it. Here's what we just said to you. If you find some way of getting into the receiving mode, now there are a few ways you can get there. When you wake up, you are there until you start thinking. When you meditate and you quiet your mind, you get there. When you are in pure appreciation or love, you are there. So when you are in the receiving mode, there is no vibrational difference between what your inner being knows and what you know. And at first, it will just feel like impulses to you. But in time, you can be so often in sync with that broader part of you that you won't have questions that sound like, hey, what are you doing? Because you'll know that what, hey, you are doing is right here with what, hey, what are you doing? You see what we're getting at? We've been saying this for a little while, that words don't teach. It's only life experience that teaches. And most recently, we've been saying to you, if you will take the time to meditate every day and convince yourself, show yourself what the receiving mode of your source energy really is, so that you recognize a thought that comes from there as compared to a thought that comes from some other place. Once you are consistently in that receiving mode, once you recognize what that is and you know that you are there, then anything that you want to know in that receiving mode, your inner being who knows what you want to know, you'll be able to receive it. And that's where what you call true knowing comes from. We could talk to you. You could become our friend and you could just walk around with Esther day after day after day after day. And Esther could say, all right, I'll do you a favor. I won't be Esther for a few days. I'll just let Abraham. And you can just ask Abraham anything that you want about anything that comes up about anything. Still, that is not even close to as wonderful as you meditating and getting in the receiving mode so that impulse by impulse, you're walking with that broader perspective. That's how you get that knowing, you see. So we started out, we had to have all of this conversation to remind you that there's nothing out there. It's all forward with you here. And you might be letting it in and you might not. But there's no point in trying to figure out what's going on out there. You've got to get into the receiving mode and let what's going on out there, which is really only interested on what's going on right here with you, in. Most of you are here in your physical bodies, but you are not all here in the way you intended to be here. And so now you can't even ask that irrelevant question, can you? Because there was nothing about it that had anything to do with the way you really are or anything that non-physical really is.